Our analysis doesn't overlap, as far as I know, in any way, shape, or form, and we frequently come to similar conclusions. We're going to see soon that I also think there could be a big drop in the market, but my timing is somewhere between late March and April, and his is May, and this is coming from a complete different type of analysis. So when that happens, you should actually, both your eyebrows should go up, not just one. Okay, can you okay, so my title of my talk, Beware the Ides of March, in reference to just this it's actually after the Ides of March, but that wasn't catching. So that's it, and there's not much economics tonight. It's mostly a market review. Okay, we just have to do our disclaimer. The contents of this presentation are not intended as a recommendation to buy or sell stocks or any security, and they're for educational purposes only. So you'll be very educated and smart after this talk. Yeah, if you weren't before, but maybe you are, so, I don't want to imply you weren't. So New York Investing is not affiliated with New York Life, once again. Next. Okay, so here's a picture of the stock market, the way I see it. Okay, Deutsche Bank looked like it was about to fail 2 or 3 weeks ago. Deutsche Bank is like the Citibank of Europe. That's right. It is a massive, massive global international bank. If it became insolvent, which it certainly could be, it would have the same impact of Citibank failing in the United States. That would bring down the whole global financial system. These are both massive, massive banks. So this is like, and then the co-CEO actually came on TV or went to the reporters and had a press conference and said the bank is rock solid. So here's a picture of the headquarters and how rock solid it is. Okay, we're going to have a brief update on the presidential election. Here's a typical voter reaction to what's going on. Yeah, some people are worse shape than this. Okay, here's the presidential election summary. We've had 3 races for both the Republicans and Democrats, but not the same 3 races. For the Republicans, Cruz won Iowa and Trump won New Hampshire and South Carolina. Now, in my book, and for the Democrats, Iowa was basically a tie. It was that close. And no one really knows who won it. New Hampshire, Sanders won. Nevada, Clinton won. But Nevada's not a key state. It's really South Carolina. And for the Democrats, that's this Saturday. And according to the polls right now, Hillary is way ahead. And if she does win by a lot, then her campaign is in okay shape. And she is likely to win the nomination at that point. Now, we will, because in my book I said of these 3 races, Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, if someone wins 2 out of 3, they are likely to get the nomination, but it will take a while. It won't be immediate. Now, if someone won 3 out of 3, which we pointed out last time, then they would win the nomination, but quickly. So it may not be too quick in either case. Now, Nevada is taking place tonight for the Republicans. There won't be any results till midnight our time, though. So Hillary should win South Carolina on Saturday, according to the polls. As I said, if she's over 25%, she's okay. If she's 10% or under, she's in big trouble. So you can watch those 2 numbers. And in between, it's in between. So Trump has not managed to win a majority. The one key point, he's not managed to win a majority in any state. He's got to do this to show he's actually like a viable candidate. He's only gotten in the 20% in Iowa and in the 30s. He only got 33% in South Carolina with the big win and 35% in New Hampshire. And the reason he's winning so big is there's so many opponents that are splitting the anti-Trump vote. And Bush finally withdrew after embarrassing himself in South Carolina, New Hampshire, and Iowa. So he probably figured 3 races in a row was enough. He was actually finished last September and should have gotten out then, and didn't have enough sense or his ego or whatever. He had $100 million from the big donors. So.
Other people's money.
Yes, and he's basically spending it all. Bush was the biggest spender in Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina, and he came in 6th, 4th, and 4th, being the biggest spender. So if you have more money than anyone and more anything else than any other candidate, and you still can't get any votes, you are not sellable. And that was known actually before the first election. But, politicians don't deal with reality. Otherwise, our government would be in better shape. So you agree? Okay. So super duper Tuesday. Carson's still in, yes. So whoever asked that. or not really. I actually call him the zombie candidate. You know, he has like 1 foot in the grave and like 1 foot walking around. He actually fired most of his staff after Iowa, and the few remaining ones he cut the salary in half. He didn't show up in New Hampshire to campaign for 5 days. Now there's a key race, and he's like nowhere to be found. I mean, this is not a serious candidate. You know, he has to leave, but he doesn't want to. Like the zombie. He comes back to life, you know, it walks the earth, but, you know, it should be in the grave where it belongs. So, and there is actually a website called The Political Graveyard, by the way, which is quite amusing if you ever want to read that. It's about, like, obscure candidates that are lost and gone and disappeared in history. So Super Duper Tuesdays are March 1st, and this will probably determine the final outcome. There's like 12, 13 races that day. It's a huge number, so a big block of votes. So our predictions on December 17th was Clinton would win the Democratic nomination and Trump the Republican nomination. We're not endorsing this. This was just our prediction of, you know, if we said there's going to be a car wreck, that doesn't mean we approve there's going to be a car wreck. So, like, and you know, there's still some chance Bernie Sanders could win. It's smaller now, and it's not impossible, but small. And Trump also could not win, even though he's like way ahead. The alternative now would be Rubio, though. Rubio and Bush were working the same side of the street, and a lot of like the Republican bigwigs had endorsed Bush, so he had tied up the establishment basically. They now are free to move to Rubio, and the big money people are free to move to Rubio. So we will see what happens in the next week or two.